Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs. Welcome back to Sector 1 Sim Racing. I hope you have all had a fantastic week and are ready to kick back this evening and watch some fantastic racing here at Laguna Seca for round 2 of the Category 1 Groups B and A tonight. My name, of course, is Carbon Boy, and I am joined tonight in the comms box by the plumber himself, Mr. Bumcrack. Good evening, Mr. Bumcrack. How are you this evening?
I am very well, thank you, mate. And good evening to you and to all listening in tonight. It's going to be a very good race. I'm really looking forward to this.
You and me both. After our race last week, I can only imagine how the Category 1 guys are going to go tonight.
They're very close. They're very, very close, I think.
From what I've seen in the practice sessions so far this weekend, it will be very, very close. From what I'm hearing around the traps, that who can save the most fuel, it will be a factor in the race tonight, not just who can set the fastest lap times.
Yes. Sector 1 have actually really cheaped out with the Bowsers this season. They're very slow.
Yeah. Look, we did have a look at the fuel budget from Season 9, and the numbers weren't pretty, not gonna lie. So we have had to scale things back from the 6 litres a second we were running last season, and we've now scaled it back to 2 litres a second to try and encourage some teams to be a little more frugal on the fuel, so to speak. Switchblade, looking at you. So, speaking of looking, we will just take a quick look at the track map tonight here at Laguna Seca. It is a beautiful track in the United States, dead on 3.6 kilometers long. There are 12 turns, and we are in for a 31 lap race tonight. There is a choice of tyres you can use. We have both the racing soft and the racing mediums available, both of which have their pros and cons. Obviously, the racing medium is nowhere near as quick. I believe it's somewhere in the region of about 7 to 8 tenths a lap in terms of time difference. But their longevity is well above and beyond the racing softs. So I guess it'll be up to the drivers tonight to work out whether they want to be in it for the long haul or whether they want to go hard and fast, but for a short period of time. So the tyre rates we have are at 3 times, and the fuel usage is at 4 times, just to try and balance things out a little bit in terms of strategy and make it fairly interesting. Now, in terms of the strategy tonight, there's basically 2 realistic options. There is, of course, the start on the racing mediums, run it out to about lap 20, give or take, and then duck into the pits, throw some fuel in the tank, just enough to bring it home, and slap on a set of racing softs just to be able to bring it home as quickly as possible. Or there's the alternate strategy of running a double stint on the mediums and pitting at roughly lap 15, 16, depending on how you're feeling, and basically have a decent set of tyres underneath the car the whole way. Now, I suppose you could run a 2-stop on running racing softs the whole way. I did some testing on that myself, and it could just be me being very, very slow and not that great compared to the guys in Category 1, but I did not find that a feasible strategy at all. Any thoughts there, Bumcrack?
Yeah, I think it's... these guys, after watching last week's races, will actually probably stick with the majority's choices there, simply because it was tried and proven, I think. It'll be very, very close right the way through this whole race, I think.
Fair enough. Now we'll just take a quick look at the point standings so far this season. So we are, of course, running Group B tonight, sitting at the top of the table, just missing out on the Group A call-up. We did have one driver pull out. Unfortunately, is not available to make the race tonight for Group A. So Artsy got the call-up to fill that spot in Group A. So sitting, I guess, at the top of the table in Group B at the moment is Slapper's Mate, very closely followed by Dadson, who seems to be rather happy back in Group B as opposed to Group A, but I have a bit of a feeling that a few more rounds and he may find himself right back in the mix in Group A, whether he likes it or not, simply based on his performances. Then we've got a couple of points behind is Tim DeRags, my teammate Ricky Bobby. I've got Heafy from Thunder Motorsport, very closely followed by the Banker, Sizzling Sausage, Stickers, who did not exactly have his ideal round last round, but again, like Dadson, I see him having the performances and the points haul that will find his way back into Group A before he knows about it. Then we have Hodes, Boybagum, the Racing Accountant, Danico, and Ebolk. Now we do have a couple of stand-in drivers tonight in Group B for teams points only. We do have Muffin from Ironheart Sim Sports in Group A, who was unfortunately unable to make the grid tonight. So we have his teammate Grovel standing in the Group B race for teams points. And we also have Hodes from Hooncorp, who was unable to make the grid tonight. So I do believe we now have Renegade from Hooncorp.
Yep.
In the lobby and in the pit lane and ready to go to stand in for teams points for Hooncorp tonight, which is good to see the Category 2 guys stepping up. They're punching above their weight, I would say, but they're not afraid to get in the mix and do the best that they can for their team. It's not about individual performances here all the time. Sometimes it's just get in, do the job, do what you need to do so your team's points can accumulate over the season, which I am trying to find them right now. We will just take a quick look at the team standings at this point, and I am fairly certain... I'm fairly certain somebody would love to have a look at these points and would love them to stay exactly as they are. Because right now, top of the table is none other than your boys over at Kraken Esports on 105 points. Sorry, 125 points. I should learn to read. Suffice to say, you're fairly happy about that, Mr. Plummer?
Oh, the lads are doing a fantastic job so far, I think.
I can confirm that they are. I was... several times in the middle of a Kraken sandwich in our race last week with both yourself and Black Project, and that was a very nervous time for me.
It was actually hard work, that was.
Well, I'm glad I didn't make it easy for you. I'm very happy to hear that. Second in the standings is our new team on the grid. The new kids on the block have decided to come in and make waves, so to speak. Thunder Motorsport sitting in P2. And the other new kids on the block, Ironheart Simsport, led by none other than Ghost himself, currently sitting third in the standings. And sitting on fourth, not far behind, is Brocchio 5 Sim Racing, Doghouse Motorsport in fifth, Dadson in sixth, Blacklight in seventh, some very familiar names here. Hooncorp in 8th, CP Motorsports in 9th, my boys at APR, hopefully they'll move a little further up the standings after tonight's racing, in 10th, Black Rose Racing in 11th, Switchblade in 12th, Lightning Motorsport having a bit of a rough start to the season in 13th, and Symmetry Motorsports also having a bit of a rough start to the season in P14. So I guess the people viewing at home have probably heard enough of my voice waffling on about things like that. What do you say we get qualifying kickstarted?
Oh, I've been waiting for Cruisin to actually tick in. I've been waiting for quite some time, sent lots of messages. He's here, but he's not ticked in.
Mr. Cruisin, you have a very, very short period of time to get your car into pit lane. Otherwise, I am afraid we are going to have to start without you.
I believe we are. I've been told by senior administration that we should actually get this underway.
Well, if we have to, we have to.
Yep, so the boys are pretty, well, getting a bit nervous down there too, so the big red button has been pushed.
Fair enough. If people are not on the ball and are not in the pit lane on time, I'm afraid there's nothing we can do. We have to start, we have to get things going. We've got 13 other drivers to cater to. Unfortunately, we can't hold things up for one, which is a bit of a shame. But it is what it is, unfortunately. If he does manage to tick in, either after qualifying, we will have to start him from the back of the grid.
Yes, means a full annual set.
Bit more work behind the scenes for us, but that's okay. Just like to say hello to everyone in the chat. Mr. Robert Rice, g'day, g'day. We will see you in the comps box a little bit later. Rainbow Socks, hello young fella, how you doing? Debrev, good to see you here again. Mr. Ghost, he will be watching very keenly tonight, I imagine. The good doctor is making an ambitious call. I don't think we will go doing 4 wide into turn 1, thank you very much. We will be having none of that.
Don't bet on it.
Oh, well, I hope it's not deliberate. Anyway, so going out to the drivers on track. First out we have in that gorgeous blue and gold, blue and yellow, whatever, Dadson livery is Theo himself, Mr. Dadson. Next out on track for Black Rose Racing is Mr. Boy Bagum, aka Bubblegum, aka Hubba Bubba, aka he's too quick for category 2A, so we bumped him up to 2B. Next in line for Doghouse is the Banker in the gorgeous PWR livery. I cannot get enough of that. Keen-eyed viewers, keep an eye on that front splitter. You may notice a little bit of an added extra in the front bumper. We have gotten to pass the scrutineers and it does not give any extra performance, so it has been allowed. Fourth out on track is my boy Ricky Bobby. Haven't had a lot of communication from him so far this weekend, but from what I can tell, he's got his head down and he's been pumping out the laps, and I do foresee him finishing fairly high up the order this evening. Hopefully I haven't put the Mozza on him as he runs off track. So next in line is a Slappers Mate. Going past Ricky Bobby up the hill towards the corkscrew, which is, I like to call it, the American version of the Dipper. Not as good, but just as chaotic. 6 out on track is Heafy for Thunder Esports. Next in line for Symmetry is E-Bulk in the rather gorgeous white and pink livery. There's a lot more colour on the grid this season, which I'm loving. Lightning Motorsport TO stickers, followed by Sizzling Sausage for Black Rose, and I've lost our order, so I'm just going to have to try and find the driver who I haven't covered. Got the fill-in driver for Hooncorp Renegade. Rightio, so first out of the blocks tonight, setting the quickest lap, is Dadson with a 127.3, which is fairly respectable. Actually, it's more than respectable. It's a lot quicker than
Yeah,
I was able to do last week. So,
it's cooking.
yeah, look, I can only dream of a time like that. Not gonna lie.
I've been watching him in practice, and he actually seems very confident on this track. He's driving really well.
In P2, also for Dadson is Slappers. So the two Dadson drivers locking out the two top spots on the grid at the moment. However, it is still young. It's only on lap 3, so calm down, Carbon Boy. E-Bulk for Symmetry Motorsports, currently occupying 3rd spot on the grid. Boy Bagum's currently got himself into P4 as Stickers, Banker and Danico run themselves into the pits. Danico, the other Hoon Corp driver, brought up pretty close to the start of the season, so he's basically been picked up and thrown into the mix with not as much preparation as the other guys around him, but he seems to be holding his own so far, which we do love to see. Just checking in back on the chat while we watch a pit stop. Got Budsy saying good evening, hello to you too, hello to Evolution Sim Racing. G'day to Big J and Gregs. Hello to the Stranger. Good to see you guys tuning in tonight. Don't forget to smack that like button. Do all the things to help our algorithm. Checking in, the racing accountant, aka the taxman. Whoop, he's had a commentator's curse moment as I put the camera on him. He's run a bit wide on the exit going up in the corkscrew. I was going to say nice things and say he's put himself into P2, which he has done, so I'll get the camera off him.
Slappers is about to say something about that, I think.
Oh, yep, we're just checking in on him, coming down the main straight with a 127.433. Does improve on his best time. Unfortunately, can't move himself up the grid. My boy Ricky Bobby, currently in P4, good to see. As Slappers has... Ricky Bobby has gone a pole with a 127.191. There we go. He is absolutely cooking. I'm going to show a little bit of favouritism here and just stick with him through the first sector split to see how he's travelling. He's a tiny bit down. Couple of hundredths. Dadson still holding on. He's on an outlap. Boy Lagoon currently in P6, also on an outlap. Who's not on an outlap? There we go. We've got Stickers down in P7. Comes through the first sector. He's a couple of hundredths down. The Laguna Seca is that kind of track where if you can just hold your line, maintain your mid-corner speed. And these Renault Meganes, they're really easy to drive, but they're really tricky to get the absolute maximum out of. Because they're not the most powerful car. If you're just a few kilometers an hour slower through the corner, it's really hard, especially on a track like Laguna Seca, where you've got that long run up the hill towards the corkscrew. If you're 5 kilometers an hour slower through that corner, there's no way you're going to be running the same split times through that sector.
Yeah, it certainly punishes any mistakes quite harshly, this track.
So our pole sitter, Ricky Bobby, is currently into the pits for a fresh set of boots. The banker has moved himself up into P7. He's knocked Stickers down. Slappers is on an outlap. Racing account also on an outlap. Have a look at Dadson. Looks like he's on a hot lap. uses all of the track there on the hill towards the corkscrew. Tucks it in nicely, upshifts nice and early, gets maximum power, and he is a couple of hundredths up on his best time. Follow him through this last sector. Looks like he will get one more lap, so I might just jump on board with him as he comes down the start-finish straight. Crosses the line and goes purple with a 1:27.067.
Wow.
That is an absolute blinder. It's only a couple of hundredths off dipping into the 26s. Only a couple of thousandths down on his previous lap time. He's a tenth and a bit up on Ricky Bobby in P2. The final lap count has come out, so we'll see what he can do. Heafy's moved himself up into P5, E-Bulk into P6. Dadson's throwing everything at this final lap. Late on the brakes into the corkscrew, clips that first apex, hits the second one beautifully. Easy purple, oh, he's down. Bit of a shame, he's still holding pole. P2, Ricky Bobby.
Slapper's mate's on a purple lap.
Oh, hello. Hard under brakes into the final corner. Can he get the power down? Gets a beautiful exit onto the main straight. Stranger's right against the pit wall. Can Slappers improve his position?
He does.
Goes pole with a 1:27.009. That is a fantastic clutch lap from Slappers, who's managed to slap Dadson off pole position. And Ricky Bobby slaps him back with a 1:26.994. Thank you, mother, for the rabbits. Hopefully I don't end up with some copyright infringement for that statement, but that's okay. Whew. Well, talk about coming in at the absolute last second.
Wow.
Whew. Well, let's take a look at those qualifying, not race results, getting a bit ahead of myself there. So thanks to Adelaide Ceramic Coatings, and for our qualifying results, we have Ricky Bobby on pole with a 1:26.984. Just outside the 26s in P2 on the front row of the grid is Slappers. Second row of the grid is Dadson and the Taxman, followed by Heafy and E-Bulk. Fourth row of the grid is Boy Bagoom and the Banker. Fifth row of the grid is Stickers and Grovel for Ironheart Sim Sports, filling in tonight for teams points. On the sixth row of the grid is Sizzling Sausage and Danico, and on the final row of the grid for Hooncorp, filling in for teams points tonight, is Renegade. Now, have we had any news on how Cruisin' is going with getting into onto the grid tonight?
He's piped up in Discord, but no real answer.
It seems that from what I can tell, someone may or may not be aware of our slightly adjusted start times for this season.
I think we might have to be going on without.
My apologies there, ladies and gentlemen, for the lapse in audio. Just some slight technical difficulties on my behalf, as in I am not clicking the right button. So, Mr. Race Director, how are we travelling in terms of?
I've been given no on his way at least, so I have to start without. We are behind already a little bit. And,
well,
yeah.
Unfortunately, that seems to be the case.
I'm sorry. Let me know when you want to get the boys rolling. Got to give them time to settle into tyre, everything.
Gotta love it. Yeah, just so everybody is aware, we have adjusted our starting times from our usual 7 p.m. We've gone to a slightly earlier 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time start time, simply because, well, things were starting to run a little bit late in the evening, and we figured just bumping it forward by half an hour would help things immensely. Unfortunately, even though we have communicated that multiple times, there might be some team owners who have not communicated that even further to their drivers. So, I mean, is he in the lobby?
He's in the lobby, but he's been in the lobby all along.
Right. Mr. Cruisin', you have 30 seconds to get yourself ticked in, or we start without you. I'm sorry.
And I hope it automatically puts him down the bottom of the list. Or is it going to reset the grid?
I believe it will. Alright, so he's got 30 seconds, slightly less now. So while we're just sitting around waiting for a driver to get his car out of the garage and onto the grid, how are you doing, YouTube chat? Hope you're all well tonight. What are your predictions for the podium tonight? Let me have them. No particular order, just who's going to be on the podium. Good evening, Jim Bob. Good to see your face around again. My messaging system is absolutely lighting up.
We do have a message saying he's on his way. We can't get these boys.
No, we can't. So I'm sorry, but we need to get this race started. So by all means, Mr. Plumber, hit that great big start button.
And away we go.
The joys of it all.
Yes.
So again, YouTube chat, chuck in your predictions. Who do you think's going to finish on the podium? As we've got the cars on the grid. We have lights. And we have a very clean start. Ricky Bobby gets a beautiful launch, as does Slappers, as does Dadson. Launches himself up from P3 into P2. Oh, little bit of a concertina effect there at turn 1. Bit of bumping and grinding. Slappers makes his way through on the inside. Racing accountant. Oh, that's a bit willing there, but that's... Oh, I don't know. I'm not a steward, I'm not touching that.
No, I was actually watching it. It was actually, Heafy had a bit of a moment and it passed quite nicely, I thought.
Well, Dadson being very aggressive early on. Makes his way back up to P2, ducking down the inside of Slappers. Pretty good start. We're going to have to scroll our way through the grid. Whoa, they're going 3 wide up the hill towards the corkscrew. Boy Bagoom, Slappers, Taxman. Cooler heads prevail. They all sort themselves out, go single file. As exciting as 3 wide into the corkscrew is, it's not going to end well. Banker's done well, he's had a good start, moved himself up to P6. Stickers is having to fight for P7 at the moment. He's got Heafy down the inside. Oh, as Heafy's had a... No, not Heafy. That was Danico's gotten on the power a bit early. Let's see if we can catch that on our replay. Oh, just caught the aftermath of that, but it looks like he just got on the power a bit early. Of the final turn. And unfortunately has spun it around and put it into the pit wall. Bit of a shame, but there's still plenty of time. He can claw back some positions over the course of this race. Speaking of clawing back positions, Taxman is all over the rear bumper of Dadson as they're coming up towards the corkscrew. Looks to be running single file for now. Boy Bagoom, P4. I reckon he'll be very happy with that after qualifying a little lower in the order. He's made up a few spots in the early laps. Slappers has had not the greatest of starts. He's dropped back down to P5. Stickers in P6. Very closely followed by Heafy. Banker and Grovel are going to be going at it. How are they doing for tyre choice there, Bumcrack? Is there anyone running on the racing soft tyres, or is it a fairly even spread of racing mediums?
Pretty well, the whole field is on the same tyre.
Right. So nobody's trying the bold alternate strategy?
Oh, no. There are some alternates inside of the main strategy, which may sort of, may see some go down.
Stickers has got a very racy looking Heafy on his back bumper as they've come down the corkscrew to the final sector. Does Heafy show the nose? No, backs out of it for the final corner.
He's been working his way up through the field quite well, actually, Heafy.
Has indeed. Sitting in P6 at the moment. He's looking like he wants to get past Stickers. They go into the braking zone for T1 and he absolutely sends it. That was beautiful under brakes.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, that was a pleasure to watch. In fact, we might just take another look at that again.
That'd be a good idea.
Saw it once, I want to see it again.
It is a difficult corner to defend.
I have absolutely stuffed that up, so ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very sorry. We are not going to have a second look at that. It'd be great if I could push the right button. So Ricky Bobby out in front, a little bit of TV time for him. He's only out by 1.7 seconds, so he's not exactly clearing out. He's currently purple. Datsun in P2. He's got a very racy-looking racing accountant on his rear bumper. Whether these two are going to work together or fight remains to be seen. Pretty sure there's a Boy Bagum in P4 at the moment who would love for them to have a bit of a scrap so he can get right back in the mix. There is a little bit of a gap between 4th and 5th to the tune of 2 and a bit seconds. Oh, well, 3 and a bit seconds, sorry.
3 and a bit, yeah.
Yep, sorry, I should learn to count. He's got a little bit of clear space, just under a second, back to Stickers in P6. Slappers unfortunately slipping that little bit further back through the field. He's down to P7 now after a fantastic qualifying. But, anything can still happen in this race. We're only on lap 5, it's a 31 lap race, so there's still plenty of time for everything to happen. Banker in P8. Grovel in P9. He's holding his own in this category. Spent a little bit of time practicing against him and only one round racing against him, but can confirm he is a very, very quick operator. So I would be very, very surprised to not see him do reasonably well, even in a Category 1 race. He does have a former Cat 2 driver right on his rear bumper in the form of Sizzling Sausage, the reigning Cat 2A champion, who took out the title last season, and as part of his reward for that, gets bumped up to a faster category. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if he defines it as a reward or not, but he's just been edged out there in turn 3 by E-Bulk, who's managed to stick the nose up the inside and says, "Thank you, I'll have that." He's holding a very defensive line.
Doesn't want to give it back.
No, he definitely does not. There's a lot of dust being kicked up by these drivers who they seem to be using all of the track and then some. There's a lot of ducking and weaving going into the corkscrew. Oh, E-Bulk has had a moment. E-Bulk has had a terrible moment. That is very unfortunate. Let's see if we can catch that on our JSM Accounting action replay. More to the point, can Carbon Boy hit the right buttons? No, he cannot. Right. Again, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Back up the front of the field, Ricky Wobby. He's had that lead cut down by half a second or so back to Dadson, who has managed to make a little bit of a gap himself on the taxman. He's managed to make that 3/10, more like 6/10. Boybagum still hanging about, P4. He's got himself, still got himself that 3 and a bit second lead back to Heafy in P5. Who also has a fair bit of clear air now back to Stickers in P6. Who again has a little bit of a buffer back to Slappers in P7. Who has the Banker and Grovel still in tow, so those three. That was about a 6-car battle pack early on in the race, but is now dropped down to 3. Renegade filling in tonight for Hooncorp, for Hodes, who was unable to make the grid tonight. He's doing very, very well, holding himself at P10.
Racing accountant's really starting to stick it to Davidson.
Yes, that gap has come back down from 7/10 back down to 4. And he's purple this lap as well. He's not mucking around. Current fastest lap goes to Ricky Bobby with a blistering 126.579. Which...
8.
Is that quicker than his qualifying lap?
No. 28.5. No.
Sorry, 28.5.
26.9.
Not a 26, a 28. If anybody would like to sponsor me for a set of glasses, that would be fantastic.
Well, Specsavers, I can tell you, well worth going to.
They are a sponsor of yours, I do believe.
Oh, are they? Yes, as a matter of fact they are, but they are really good.
Oh, look at that for a sneaky plug. Gotta say, we did that rather smoothly, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
We've got us all spread out at the moment, haven't they?
Yeah. Still got the taxman right on the back of Dadson. Doesn't look to be making any moves. He's still purple.
Up to lap 9.
Oh, on lap 9, what do you say we get into a tyre and fuel update?
I'm thinking that's probably actually a good idea right about now, because this is where it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, let's check
As far as tyres go, now Ricky Bobby out the front, 1.3 seconds up, he's doing it nice. His tyres maybe 10-15% worn at the most, still looking pretty damn good. And at about 60-odd% fuel, so he's not so bad. Almost exactly the same as Dad's. Racing accountant's got a little less fuel and a bit more tyre wear, whereas Boybegum has actually got a little bit more fuel, a bit more like Dadson. His tyres are actually looking like the top two. Heafy's actually using a fair bit of fuel, but his tyres are looking good. Stickers, now he has about the same sort of fuel usage. The big one here is Slapper's mate. He's looking at about 70-odd% fuel. He is doing an unbelievable job on the fuel saving.
And he's looking like he's just had a banker go up the inside through turn 1.
He certainly has, and I'll do his fuel. As his tyres, same as every 15% worn mark. He's at about 60% fuel, so pretty well in line with the top couple. Slapper's Grovel is about the same as everyone else. Renegade's used a little bit more fuel than most, maybe a little bit. Sizzling Sausage is about similar to everyone. Danico has got some absolutely obscene tyre wear. He's about 60% gone on a flat-head tyre.
Oh,
and he's getting 55% fuel, so he's had a tough day at the office, I think.
He's using a lot of the car by the sound of it.
Yes, and finally EE Bolt right down the back there he's only used about 10% of his tyres at the front, looked really good, and about 65% fuel, so he's doing alright with fuel as well. So yeah, the only big standout there is Slap. Really saved some good time in the pits, I think.
So, include our crack. So it's looking like Slappers could be in for a pretty good fuel start. Pit stop. That's the word I was looking for.
I think so. let's say a 10% difference in fuel. That's 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's massive. That is
That
a
puts him-
huge advantage.
That gets him up a spot at least too, if not 2.
Well, here we go. Side by side into the corkscrew. Dadson and the taxman. Oh, that's a little bit bumpy and grindy. Dadson manages to hold onto it. But I think the taxman is making his intentions clear. He's coming in for an audit. And I can't believe I just made that joke, but yes, I did. I said what I said and I'm standing by it.
Dadson really gets out of that last corner quite well.
He does. He's managed to pull quite the gap. But then the taxman back under brakes into turn 1. He is right on that rear bumper again. Both drivers just clipping the dirt a little bit.
Trying to throw rocks at each other.
We might have some windshield repairs after this round. Ricky Bobby's managed to extend that lead out to 2.3 seconds, so he's taking advantage of the scrapping that's going on behind him. Boibagum still chilling in 4th. He's having a pretty good time out today. Peavy in P5 isn't able to close that gap up, so he's in a bit of no man's land. He's got near as makes no difference 5 seconds front and rear, so he's in a fairly solid P5 at the moment. As he's purple coming through the corkscrew, might just stay on board with him, give him a little bit of TV time, see if he can knock the taxman's fastest lap of a 28.479 off the board, pick himself up that extra point. A little bit wiggly coming out of the final turn. How's he going across the line? Oh, just off with a 128.537. Stickers in P6. He's got a bit of clear air now as well. He's got a couple of seconds back to the banker in P7, who still has Grovel for company. Just a couple 7/10ths behind. So Grohl doing very well tonight for the team's points. I'm sure his team owner will be very, very happy with his drive tonight. Don't count the chickens just yet because he's got Slappers just under a second behind him. And not that far astray, he's got Renegade and Sizzling Sausage, who is looking to go up the inside. This could get very, very spicy here. Oh, bit of bumping and grinding into the corner. Too wide in that corner is a bit fraught with danger. Now, I'll see if I can get that on our JSM action replay. Nope, no I can't. Alright, there's something going on with our replays tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry that I cannot get that up and going. Gonna have to work that out in the intermission, unfortunately.
The Gain Racing accountant would really give Dadson some grief.
Like, I saw a lot of dust as Racing Accountant has run very wide.
Yes.
At turn 4, and that is giving Boibagum one heck of a sniff. So the taxman's gone from being on the hunt to being on the defense now. Boibagum is definitely not one to shy away from an opportunity. Side by side into the corkscrew. That is a Beautiful move under brakes as he moves himself up into P3. He will be absolutely cheering underneath that helmet. Now, I really, really want the replay to start working. Unfortunately, no. Our replays are not working this evening, so my apologies, ladies and gentlemen at home.
That was still a good move, though.
Just checking in on the YouTube chat. Diswood would like to know when my roast is ready. My roast is ready whenever you are, Woodsy. There is nothing cooking tonight so far. No smoke alarms going off here in the comps box, which is fantastic. Good to see Greg's in the chat as well. He will slot in very nicely.
Well, D'Amico's just come into the pits and gone out without fuel.
Oh, that's...
This is a new strategy. He's on...
That's a bold call. So what has Danico done? He's gone into the pits, changed tyres, no fuel?
No fuel. I think that'll be a 2-stop at very least. He's going for a fastest lap, perhaps.
I would definitely say he's going to have to 2-stop because there's no way you're doing 31 laps on a single tank of fuel.
Yeah, definitely a 2-stop, but I think that even with the fuel that he's got, he might not be able to do 2 stints on soft.
Interesting. Gotta love the alternate calls.
It may prove fruitful, we'll see.
So Ricky Bobby out in front. He's got 3 and a bit seconds to the goods. Dadson in P2. He's got a little bit of breathing space back to Boy Bagum in P3. Dadson will be very, very happy with that. Boy Bagum's managed to put about a second onto the taxman, who might just be cursing that earlier mistake. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast here at Laguna Seca. One little mistake, one corner run wide can seriously hurt.
Yes. It's a punishing track.
Heafy in P5, he's 1.5 seconds back from the taxman, so he's definitely not out of the picture. And the gaps do get a little bit bigger, to the tune of, a lot. Back to Stickers in P6. He's got himself a little bit of breathing space over the banker in P7, who still has Grovel for company to the tune of 0.5 second. These two have been running nose to tail pretty much the entire race. So I'm wondering whether Grovel's just going to be running the patient strategy of sit behind, save fuel, and do the jump in the pit stop, or whether he's just happy to... Oh, actually, no, I think I know Grovel well enough. He's never going to be happy with the position he's in. He always wants one better, so... He might
There's a tiny bit of fuel difference between the two of them, so...
who's got the advantage there?
The banker has, actually. But the banker is just fooled and Penelope.
Oh, no. That is definitely going to hurt.
Does that make it pit time? Ooh.
Lap 17. It's a little bit early to jump into the pits and throw on the softs. Unfortunately, he's had to relinquish that P7. That will definitely hurt. There will more than likely be a lot of very colourful language coming out from underneath that helmet. So it's probably a good thing we can't tap into the driver comms.
Definitely not before 9 o'clock.
Even after 9 o'clock, I don't think I'd want to hear that coming out from them there. I've spent a fair bit of time chatting with the banker over the years, and very, very pleasant guy until he's annoyed. And yeah. Let's just say you don't want to be on the receiving end. Takes a lot to upset him. You don't want to be the person who upsets him.
I think Heafy's about to have a go at upsetting it.
Yes, Heafy for Thunder Esports. Right on the back of Taxman for symmetry. The two pink cars. Bit of black, bit of pink. Lovely to see so much colour on the cars on the grid this season.
Danico's taken the fastest lap. 28.014.
Oof. Yeah, I guess that was his strategy after all. It's like throw away the potential race points for the bonus point. Although you've got to bear in mind, the rest of the drivers are on the medium still. They have still yet to go onto the softs, so that fastest lap may not stand for too much longer. We're on lap 19. Heafy looking very racy behind the Taxman. How's the fuel difference between the racing accountant and Heafy? Is there a big difference there, or?
Yes, there is actually, and Heafy is actually, I'm estimating at least 5 litres better off. Racing accountant's on the red and flashing, which
so probably
be very due.
Probably fair to say we're going to see him into the pits at the end of this lap.
I believe you. We will.
So we may just see Heafy not have to overtake on track, but he may just be able to make his way past just on the refuel situation.
I think at this distance apart, yes.
I mean, he's only 3/10 behind the Taxman, so if he just holds station here and they both pit at the same time, theoretically he's going to find himself up into P4 without having to potentially pull a dangerous overtaking move.
Yes.
As he was absolutely cooking through the corkscrew there. Saw a couple of wheels off the ground and a lot of sparks. As they both go around again. Okay. Oh wait, no, sorry, the Taxman pulls into the pits.
Yes.
He's got 5 litres of fuel left on board. Heafy goes around again. Stickers also comes into the pits. Grovel into the pits. Well, that is a massive fuel difference between the Taxman and Stickers. There's 10%.
Yeah.
9% between Stickers, 10% between Grovel.
That's 5 seconds. That's a lot of time.
That's a That's going to drop that gap between Stickers and the Taxman. We saw it was out to 10 seconds, but that gap is definitely going to halve, well, assuming that they take on the same amount of fuel.
Looks like Stickers could take less.
Probably shouldn't assume things.
No.
Heafy's actually right up on the back of Boy Bagum now. It's just 7/10 between the two of them. What does Ricky Bobby do? Oh, he's going around again.
Wow.
Dadson's into the pits. 10% fuel. Boy Bagum and Heafy both in. Oh, Boy Bagum's got the fuel advantage over Heafy. There's 6 litres there, so there's a couple of seconds he's saved. Sizzling sausage. He's ducking into the pits as well. How's he travelling for fuel? 13% left. He's doing pretty good. Slappers, he's going around again.
And his tyres are looking fantastic, and he's got a mountain of fuel.
The Slappers already pit.
No.
No, there's no. Okay, so there's the alternate strategy going on here.
He's really stretching these mediums out.
How much fuel does he have roughly?
I'm estimating about 30%.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's
So we're 2/3 of the way through the race, and he's got 1/3 of a tank of fuel left. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Oh, that's very possible.
Is Slappers going to go for the no stop?
I think we might be just watching that unfold.
I mean, it's ambitious, but I like it.
His tyres, he looks after everything the way he's been looking after. This is all in the land of doable.
All right, we'll definitely keep an eye on this because I'm keen to see this happen. The no stop on mediums.
And he's going to take the lead here too.
Yeah, Ricky Bobby's still in the pit, still fueling. Slappers absolutely hammering his way down the main straight. Ricky Bobby's still got fuel going in the tank, so yep, Slappers inherits a race lead. Oh, Ricky Bobby's just coming out of the pits now. Where is he going to end up? Slappers has gone past the pit exit, so he does have the race lead. Ricky Bobby coming out on track now. He's got a Dadson and E-Bulk up in the P4.
Oh.
So E-Bulk's managed to overtake Boy Bagum.
Dadson's gone a bit wide.
Ooh, there was...
Something happened there.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a lag issue going on there, because I saw Dadson driving off track, and then all of a sudden he was back on track again.
Yes.
GT7 doing GT7 things. Gotta love it. Boy Bagum, he's looking very racy up the hill towards the corkscrew, and has gone past E-Bulk with
ease.
very little resistance there from E-Bulk. Has E-Bulk pit yet?
No, his tyres are looking 3/4 worn. He's still got 25% fuel too, so.
Okay, so maybe E-Bulk's going for the no stop as well.
Oh, possibly.
Interesting. There's something we didn't take into account on our strategy graphic.
How did I miss E-Bulk?
We've just had it thrown in the YouTube chat as well from Robert Rice. Look out for a no stop. Well, looks like we're looking out for a couple of them at the moment.
Yeah.
Got Slappers and E-Bulk going on the alternate strategy. So courtesy of those two alt strats, Stickers is currently sitting in P8. The banker has managed to find a little bit of breathing space over Grovel in P10. I'm willing to bet that was from the banker being able to drive fast and conserve fuel at the same time.
Yes.
I've had a fair bit of experience of coming up against that. You know, you ride on his rear bumper for 7 or 8 laps, you come into pit thinking, yep, I've been saving, no dramas, and he's 10% better off on fuel than you are.
Yes. I thought I was doing really well last week with the fuel, and I came into the pits like, oh god.
It's a similar situation with your driver Black Project. I've had a couple of occasions where I've been saving fuel behind him and thinking, yep, I'll jump him in the pits, and he's still easily 10-15% better than I am.
He's a born natural with his fuel use.
He's an absolute weapon with the fuel save. I've given up trying to beat him on that. I'll have a much better time beating my head against a brick wall. So still out in the race lead is Slappers on the one stop, but he's not going to have it all his own way because he's got a very feisty looking Ricky Bobby hot in pursuit. And
with the now fastest lap.
Yep, he does inherit that fastest lap back with a 1:27.177. And he's got a very fresh set of racing softs on as opposed to Slappers on those well-loved mediums. So I don't think this will be much of a contest. Oh, that's a good decision there from Ricky Bobby. Backs out of it. Has another go, puts the nose down the final turn. Both drivers giving each other plenty of space. They know the deal. I think they both know that they're not in direct competition with each other, even though this is a legitimate for position overtake, because they're on different strategies, and I'm pretty sure they both realise that. Not a lot Slappers can really do about that.
You can get a little bit of a tow along though.
I don't want this to sound bad, but I think at this point for Slappers, it's just going to be about damage mitigation. He's in P2 at the moment, and he's on a very bold, very bold alternate strategy. So I think it's just going to be a case of try to lose as little positions as possible. Oh my, the commentator's curse has struck at the worst time. Having said that, that was a beautiful 360 there. He's run wide on the run up to the corkscrew, but has done a perfect 360 and back on track, and unfortunately he's lost 2 spots from it, but that could have ended a lot worse. So well done Slappers. That was a beautiful move. Well, a beautiful save, because if that was me, it would have been a 1080 into the wall, and I'd be somewhere around P13 about now.
Yes, with damage.
Oh, with all of the damage.
Yes.
But he's now got a very rapidly closing Heafy on his tail.
Yes.
And Heafy with those fresh racing soft tyres. And it's going to be a matter of when, not if. Slappers going as defensive as he can, but Heafy's just got the grip and goes steamrolling around the outside, says thank you very much. Taxman's in P6. He's next in line. Jim Bob's just fired into the chat. How much fuel does Slappers have left? That's a good question.
Slappers is probably sitting at about 12 to 15% at the moment.
12 to 15%, and he's got 4 laps to go. He's cutting it very fine.
He is indeed. To put that into perspective, Racing Accountant has just got 25%. Boybegum's looking pretty slim on fuel.
Hello.
He's about down to the 20% mark, maybe a little less.
20%, so that's 5% a lap.
So Ricky Bobby Dadson and Boybegum are roughly about the same. Racing Accountant's full 25%. He can really give it beans, I think.
So do you think Slappers is going to be able to make it to the end?
I think he can actually. I think
Be a bit of a fuel save 100 situation going on.
I think the warning light comes on at about 10%, doesn't it?
About that, yes.
Yes. So if you're getting close to the warning light, we'll be close.
That gap between Boybegum and Dadson's hovering at about the 1.7 second mark. Just keep an eye on that. The gap between Heafy and the Taxman, P4, is about 2 seconds.
Dadson's gone and not earned himself a penalty.
Oh dear. Where has he picked that one up? The corkscrew, do you think?
I didn't think he had one. I passed him like a second ago. I'm not sure.
There's going to be a lot of cursing coming from the Dadson's comms, I would imagine.
Well, that's going to give Boybegum a bit of a sniff.
Yeah, there will be some cheering in the Black Rose garage, I would imagine.
Yeah, that'll be 2 laps to go, and Boybegum rapidly getting close.
Because as we know, a half-second penalty, depending on the track, of course, it does equate to, well, by the time you've slowed down and then gotten back up to race pace again, looking from anywhere from 1 to 2 seconds in terms of time lost.
This one being at the start of the main straight here, it's I think it's going to wipe out every bit of lead he's got there.
It's particularly painful. Does the right thing, pulls across to the pit lane wall. I think he will hold his position going into T1, but that's definitely given Boybegum the slipstream. 2 laps to go. Just checking back in on Slappers. He's down in P6. He's got 6.5 seconds back to stickers, so if he doesn't run out of fuel, he may just hang on to a P6 here. Well,
Still
hello.
a little bit of tyre left.
Just checking back in, and Grovel's managed to make his way in front of the Banker.
Oh,
Grovel's up into P8, Banker into P9, and
with a
Banker's...
penalty.
Oh dear, he's having a bit of a rough run late here in the race. So a 29 and then a 30 lap, and then this penalty is definitely not going to help his cause. And he's got Sizzling Sausage a second and a bit behind him, so he may potentially slip back to P10.
We've got a blue flag out for Danico because Ricky Bobby's approaching.
He is on his final lap, coming through T1, T2 for the final time. He's nearly 6 seconds to the good. He's had a fairly flawless run tonight. As Danico moves over, gets out of the way. Nice to see. No one likes getting lapped. I can confirm it's happened quite a few times myself, but you do the right thing, you jump over and let the race leader through. Unfortunately, doesn't have the fastest lap, but did get pole position. He's just going to bring the car home. Dadson P2, he's still got to stick it back to Boy Bagum. You will be very happy standing on that third spot on the podium. Give it a little bit of TV time to my boy, Ricky Bobby. Into that final corner for the last time.
Absolutely flawless race.
Pole position, a little bit of flash of the lights. Brilliant. P1. P2 is Dadson, hanging on just by less than a second over Boy Bagum. P3. Heafy brings it home for P4. The Taxman for P5. And Slappers on the alternate no-stop strategy brings it home. Slowly but surely. There we go. P6. Oh. Stickers P7. Grovel P8. Sizzling Sausage P9. E-Bulk is going to bring it home for P10. The Banker has had a bit of a shocker for the last couple of laps, unfortunately. Brings car home in P11. Renegade brings it in for P12, and Danico, being the blue flag driver, in P13. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all she wrote for Category 1 Group B.
Wow, that was yeah, what a race from just faultless.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you start throwing in your driver of the day nominations into the chat? We will get to those in just a second, and we will take a look at the race results. So P1, Ricky Bobby for APR Motorsport. P2 for Dadson Racing is Dadson himself. P3 for Black Rose is Boy Bagum. Heafy P4, Taxman P5, Slappers with the bold strategy in P6, Stickers P7, Grovel for the team points in P8. I suspect his TO will be more than happy with that. P9, Sizzling Sausage, P10, E-Bulk, P11, The Banker, P12, also for team points is Renegade, and rounding out the grid tonight is Danico in P13. Well, I gotta say, I definitely did not see the no-stop strategy as a viable option. So,
no.
Yeah, that caught me completely blindsided.
Bringing it home in 6th place, that's a really good effort. I thought it's a brilliant effort.
I'm just going to give my driver of the day nomination to Slappers just for that, simply because I didn't think the no stop was possible, let alone viable. So, yeah, my driver of the day nomination is going to Slappers.
That certainly would be mine. And I'll just a special mention there to E-Bulk, who actually tried the same strategy in 10th place.
So in the chat, we've got Jim Bob saying driver of the day, Karen. Yep. There are some guys who are very happy with Grovel's performance. Dobrev, driver of the day is Dadson. Woody, driver of the day is Chicken Roast, which I'm going to assume is Slappers. Cruisen's driver of the day is Slappers. I got a driver of the day from Greg's for Heafy. You actually put in a fairly solid performance as well. Finishing just off the podium in P4. But, I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably a fairly solid driver of the day performance for Slappers there. As we round out or finish up round 2 for Group B of Category 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to duck off to a short intermission while we get the Group A guys all ready to go for their qualifying and race session. So feel free to have yourselves a toilet break, grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a fresh beverage, and we shall be back very shortly. I would just like to say a very big thank you for our race director and co-commentator tonight, Mr. Bumcrack. Thank you very much for joining me tonight.
You're more than welcome, mate, and good luck with the next division. That'll be a cracker of a race. I'll be watching every bit of it.
I am looking forward to it. If last week's round at Lake Maggie was anything to go by, we're in for a very fiery race tonight.
Yes.
Alrighty, we shall kick off to our short intermission and stay tuned. We will be back before you know it. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies for the extended intermission. It would not be GT7 without GT7 doing GT7 things. We've had a few technical issues we've been working on in the background, but we have got those all sorted, I do believe, now. And so joining me now in the comms box is a fellow Group A driver from Cat 2 in Revs. How are you tonight, Revs?
Yeah, man, doing really well. Excited for the race. Last race was pretty awesome. No stop by slap. That's gotta be one of those, eh?
That was huge. I did not see that coming at all.
It was a surprise when I heard he was going to do it, so kept pretty interested for the whole race. There's a few old strats in the last one, so.
I thought the two-stop on the racing softs was the alternate strategy, but once again, the drivers have gone out and proven me wrong in traditional fashion. Not gonna lie, I don't mind it when they do that.
And, now we got the elite specimens of Sector 1 doing their magic gun. Looks like all the top guns are here too.
Yep, that they are, and we shall take a quick look at the Group A points. So currently standing at the top of the table after last round's win is Mountain Goat for Brocchio 5 Sim Racing, closely followed by Geesh for Ironheart Sim Sport, Prima GTR for Blacklight in third, Wakey for Kraken Esports in 4, Foss for Brocchio 5 in 5th, and after his absolutely blinding performance in Group B last week, Tombo's put himself into P6 and bumped himself up into Group A for this week, so I am definitely looking forward to see how he can hold his own tonight. Unfortunately, Captain Muffin not able to make the grid tonight. We've got Nif for CP Motorsports, and we also have John for Lightning Motorsport, my boy Lenosis from APR. We've got Dale Teeks also putting in a blinding performance last week in Group B and getting himself bumped up a group. And we've got CPJ. We've also got Morgan Davey from Switchblade, and rounding out a grid tonight we've got Evil Evo from Doghouse Motorsport. So we've already taken a look at the strategies tonight. We've also seen what the alternate strategy is. Watching the guys in the practice lobby this afternoon, what do you think, Revs? What do you think we're in for tonight in terms of tyre choice?
Well, tire choice. Well, that's depending on who's going to be able to save the rubber on the car. This track is really aggressive on the tires. So if you take it easy, as we saw earlier, you can get them to go a long distance. But I don't expect with the times that these guys are getting for those softs to last too long.
Well, I guess we should not hold back, and we should probably kick qualifying off so we can get things underway and see what these guys are going to be producing in terms of lap times. Good Doc, if you're in the chat, get that bucket ready, because I have the feeling we're going to see some absolutely ridiculous times.
And we got 7 seconds.
So people in the YouTube chat, thank you for sticking with us tonight. I'd like to see your predictions for who's going to slap it on pole tonight. Is it going to be the hot favourite in Mountain Goat? Is it going to be the other hot favourite in Geesh? Is GDR going to cause an upset? Or is Tombo going to come out and absolutely slap them all? Let me know what you think. Got the guys coming out on track. Lenosis, my boy from APR Motorsport with the pink wheels, loud and proud. Closely followed by the pink and blue livery of Foss from BSR. GT7 doing GT7 things and not showing me my liveries, unfortunately. So let's see if I can jump back out and then jump back in and see if we can correct that, so we can actually show the beautiful liveries that the livery lords have been putting a lot of work into. It's not looking good at the moment, unfortunately. It's definitely not playing ball with me tonight. Got the liveries working for some cars, but unfortunately we've just got the bog standard ones for several other guys, which is going to make it's going to make calling the race difficult tonight. But that's okay. We shall persevere. Got Artsy from. Jeez, this is going to really test my memory with who drives for who. Artie's driving for Thunder Esports. Next in line we've got Evil Evo driving for Doghouse with the his traditional green accent on the PWR liveried car. And for Switchblade we've got Morgan
Sorry
Baby.
to interrupt you, but can you please look at the number 10 car for me, which is number 27? You see what I'm seeing?
I am seeing a lightning liveried car.
Okay, I got him floating in the air.
Ah, okay. I can confirm all four wheels are on the ground.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see that Polyphony Digital is throwing every single technical issue possible at us tonight, but that's okay. CPJ for CP Motorsports. A couple of the guys going in early for a fresh set of tyres. Rounding out our runners tonight is Young Wakey for Kraken Esports. The beautiful blue and white Komatsu livery. As we've got on a first flyer, Jeesh for Ironheart cracking out a 126.228. Good Doc, I hope you've got your bucket ready because it's gonna get silly from this point, I imagine. GDR, only a couple of tenths behind him. Done a 126.459. He's dropping down through the corkscrew. He's half a second off, so we won't be seeing a flyer this lap. Had a little bit of a moment, I would imagine, as he's pulling into the pits for a fresh set of tyres. Boss moves up into P2 with a 126.376. He's not here to muck around this round either. Just 1.5 tenths behind Jeesh. John's got himself up into P4 in the floating car that is not quite floating. Tombo doing well for Blacklight. He's put himself up into P6. He's got the bright blue wheels. Works very, very well with that the tyre power blue on the side of the car. Artsy's got himself into P7. Fortunately, the livery's not quite showing. So instead of a gorgeous pink and black livery, we have the generic yellow, unfortunately. Morgan Davies in P8, who's right up the bumper of Evil Evo, as both of them come into the pits for a fresh set of rubber. Young Wakey's put himself up into P2, knocked Foss off the spot by a couple of hundredths of a second. He's had a very wild moment into the second last corner, and he's going to be into the pits for a fresh set of rubber as well. GDR in P4 at the moment. He's on his outlap. We might just jump on board with him and ride for a lap through Laguna Seca. Gets a really good drive out of the farm turn. It makes all the difference on this long straight. And I say straight very loosely because there is that slight bend to the left. Hugs the inside, very late onto the brakes, takes a very narrow line into turn 1, hugs the apex for turn 2, uses all of the track and then some on the exit. Turn 3, that first right-hander, that is well, I can't say what I'd like to call it because it's not 9 o'clock yet, but let's just say it's not very nice. I do not like that corner. Comes under the Mother's Bridge. Maintaining your speed through these two corners, these two left-handers, is absolutely vital for a quick lap. Now this corner after the VP Racing Fuel Bridge, it's a test of bravery. It's a blind corner, it's more it's an exercise in faith. Hard onto the brakes, tucking it in nicely for the corkscrew. A little bit of a twitch as he comes out, but he is purple. Wide there. Oh, and he was on for an absolute blinder, but he's just caught that little bit of the dirt, and that unfortunately will put you around into the wall. There's still some time left, so if he can recover and get himself back out on track, he could still get himself a little further up the grid, as Foss has knocked him off. Foss takes P4. As Goaty, he's been a bit quiet this qualifying session. He's currently sitting in P2. He's dropped a 126.256, so he's only just over 200s behind Geesh. Goaty's also another livery that's not showing up for us tonight during qualifying. Hopefully that will correct itself for the race because, well, let's face it, the livery guys put a lot of work into their designs, and to be faced with a very bland yellow and black McGahn Trophy livery is a bit disappointing.
It's really good this year too, I have to say. This season.
John's coming down through the corkscrew in the floating Merlin car for Lightning Motorsport. He's a little bit up on his time. Not sure if it's going to be enough to knock GDR off P5. As Morgan Davies puts himself up into P6 with a 126.552. He and Evil Evo are still running nose to tail during qualifying. Tombo's down in P10. My boy Lenosis down in P11, not having a great qualifying by the looks of it. CPJ in P12. New for P13. Evil Evo rounding out our grid in P14. He's had a bit of a rough qualifying looking at the front bumper on that Renault. A bit of dirt driving by the looks of it. Not sure what's going on there, whether there's been a technical failure or not. But rounding out our qualifying tonight is Geesh, who improves again on his fastest time. Drops a 126.030.
Wow, man, that's
300ths of a second off a definite vomit-worthy lap, being a 125 something something. Young Wakey comes around the final turn, gets it very sideways on the exit. Can he knock Geesh off the top spot? Does not, unfortunately. But he has knocked Mountain Goat off for P2. Goaty in P3. He's run and done. Boss is also run and done in P4. GDR P5. Tombo's also run and done.
yeah, he did that 6th place on the very last lap.
Who do we still have out on a hot lap? I think
Yep.
that is everybody run and done for qualifying. So let's take a look at those results, shall we? So, top of the timesheets in qualifying is Distinct Geesh for Ironheart Sim Sports with a dangerously close to a 125, running a 126.030. Not that far behind for Kraken Esports is Young Wakey. For BSR on P3 is Mountain Goat. And his teammate in Foss will be sharing the second row of the grid with him. On the third row of the grid there is a GTR and a Tombo. The fourth row of the grid will be Morgan Davies and John. I am looking forward to that turn one because that will be very, very spicy, I would imagine, in a good way. The fifth row of the grid for Thunder Esports is Artsy, and for Kraken Esports, Dale Teeks. And the sixth row of the grid will be Lenosis and CPJ, and on the final row of the grid will be Nif and Evil Evo. Gotta say, I didn't see Nif that far down the grid tonight. Must be having a bit of a rough day in the office, I'd imagine.
We all have bad quality sometimes. Things just happen. It's funny. Gremlins in the machine. Hands and feet aren't working quite as much, so we'll see how it goes in the race.
I can agree 100% with that. I have a rough qualifying most weeks.
Yeah. Qualifying, I mean, the divisions this season are stacked. I mean, this has got to be one of the best seasons as far as drivers go in Sector 1 that we've seen for a long time. In every sector, or sorry, in every, it's like there's 3, 4, 5 guys who could win the race, and it's good to see. Glad to see it.
I can concur 100% with that. This is the closest groups I have ever seen in my time here in S1. It's you're splitting hairs in terms of lap times and who's going to be finishing where and who's in what group. It's going to be a little bit frantic through the early rounds to see who ends up where.
It is. It's going to be an awesome race, I think. I wonder if anyone else has got that no stop up their sleeve.
So just checking in on the YouTube chat. The Good Doc says couldn't even get a 21. Washed. I don't know how I'd go calling Geesh washed, but you're on your own there, Good Doc. I'm not backing you up on that one. The Ironheart TO himself, Ghost, has jumped in with hashtag Tombo #1 driver. Having a bit of a dig at the Good Doc's stable there, I would imagine. I'm not sure how GTR will take that. Not well, I would imagine, but that's okay. Anything that fires him up for the race can only be a good thing, I would imagine. And Diswood, Tombo channeling his inner happy feet. That's a bit rough, Woody. That's a bit rough, but we'll pay that. Well, I guess without any further ado, should we not keep the drivers or the people at home waiting? Should we just get straight into the race and see what unfolds?
Yeah, man, sounds good to me. This should be pretty exciting.
Excellent. All right, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, throw in your podium predictions, please. I would love to see them because I have a feeling this race is more than up in the air. There's half a dozen drivers who could land the top spot tonight, so I am very, very keen to see what happens there. And it does not seem that, unfortunately, the livery issue is still ongoing. So we have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And the green has gone, and we have a full grid underway. Everybody has got themselves off the line in very rapid fashion. Geesh is holding his own into T1. Wakey's going defensive over Goaty. Little bit of bumping and grinding going on, but for the most part we are very, very smooth through turns 1 and 2. Love to see it. Nobody's trying anything ambitious just yet. Give it time. Oh, Geesh and Wakey going very wide there at turn 4. There's a lot of dirt being kicked up. Foss holding station. Tombo up into P5. GDR's had a little bit of a slide back to P7. Morgan Davies moved his way up to P6. Anyone going to get ambitious at the corkscrew? Oh, a couple of drivers getting checked up there. No chaos. John in his hover car, still in P8. Lenosis has managed to move up a spot up into P10. Beautiful. Managed to get through lap 1 without any major carnage. Now, cue the commentator's curse, and it's all going to kick off from here. Geesh is not mucking around. He wants to get out front and stay there, and wants to absolutely clear out as he's extended his lead out to 9/10. Young Wakey's going to have a little bit of a fight on his hand. He's got Mountain Goat in hot pursuit. It's only half a second there. He has extended a little bit of a lead back to his teammate in P4, acting as a rear gunner. And he's got a very feisty looking pack behind him in terms of Tombo, Morgan Davies, GDR, John. And just off the back of that pack is Artie in P9. So Boss has got to be careful here because he has one slip up. He could potentially lose 5 spots. Just want to check in real quick, Revs. How are our drivers going on tyres? Is everyone on the mediums? Who's on the softs? What's going on there?
On the medium. Wakey on the medium. Combo mediums. Everybody is on mediums. Ooh, and we just have TTR just screwing into the wall at the last corner.
Oh, that's never going to go well. Oh dear. Oh dear. It's gone from bad to worse for GDR.
Bad day about it.
Oh dear. And unfortunately, with my replay feature not working, I will try and double
Morgan Davey up the inside.
I'll try and double check that. Yeah, I am sad to report that unfortunately the replay feature is well and truly broken tonight. So unfortunately we won't be getting any action replays on the stream tonight. My apologies.
Morgan says, sorry boss, but I gotta get around you because you're letting the top 3 get away.
And get away they have. There's already a 2 and a bit second gap between Morgan Davies and Mountain Goat. We've got the usual suspects up front in terms of G, Wacky and Mountain Goat.
Well, Assassin acting like a roadblock for everybody.
Checking in on the chat. Diswood is being our sports bet representative for tonight, offering odds on Morgan to run out of fuel. Also hearing reports that we can't hear you on stream, Rams. Let's see if I can just fiddle with some settings and get some volume for you. Alright. Feel free to talk away, Revs, and YouTube chat, please let us know if you can hear Revs or not. Check, check, mic check, as Morgan Davies sets a personal best lap of a 1:27 point, yeah, something. I need glasses. We've already established that. I need to get in contact with Specsavers, one would believe. So far our running order is Geesh well out in front in P1. Well, not well out in front, there's only less than a second in it. And Young Wacky's managed to 1.2 seconds on Mountain Goat in P3. P4, Morgan Davies. He's having an absolutely stellar start tonight. P5 is Foss, and he's got all the defensive work to do at the moment. He's got Tombo looking very, very racy behind him. He's also got John right on his rear bumper. As we jump on board with Tombo. Closes up to the BSR car of Foss for the final turn. John line stern in the slipstream, but not, I would imagine, not close enough for a move into turn 1. Does close up a lot under brakes. But Tombo is in turn closed up right onto the back of Foss through the first sector. Got a personal best time. Really look for a move. Get a really good exit in this next left-hander up the hill towards the corkscrew, you will be looking really good for a move under brakes. Or you could just prove me wrong and be content to sit behind, save some fuel, possibly jumping in the pit stops.
At 2 liters a second, that's any kind of fuel save here will make you a lot of time.
I have heard rumours of that tonight, that this group has been calling it a bit of a battle of the fuel save. Which, it does make a little bit of sense, because these guys are so close together in terms of pace that any advantage is going to come in the pit stop. So if they can run their lap times and run their numbers and save a few litres of fuel, there's a couple of seconds in the pit stop that they can make up with minimal effort.
I don't think GTR is trying to save fuel. He just did the fastest lap of 1:27.28. Not bad, considering what happened to him so far back there. Just trying to pick up.
Yeah, I don't think his original strategy exists anymore. I think he's just thrown it completely out the window, and it's going to be a balls to the wall as fast as possible kind of strategy. This pack right here from P5 to P9, I think this is where the action's going to be at the moment. Tombo's still line astern with Foss. John's still running with him. He's got Artsy right behind him. Gnosis has moved up to P9. He's making a few moves. He's looking very aggressive on the back of Artsy here. Looks like he wants to get the move done sometime soon. Gets very sideways onto the main straight. That's going to hurt him for his exit speed. Drops back a little down the main straight, but with the concertina effect of the 3 or 4 cars in front of him, it's going to allow him to get back up pretty rapidly.
Say, looking up front, watching Morgan, he's made that gap up, and he's virtually up on Mountain Goat's rear end here, so might have some excitement. He's done well. I can't remember the exact time. I think it was 2 seconds or something. He was behind, and he was behind Foss, and he made the move around Foss, and yeah, now he's on the Goats. He's looking impressive this year, Morgan.
He is having an absolute blinder first stint here. Sure if there's going to be any fuel saving going on. But speaking of which, how about we get into a tyre and fuel update? We can see where these guys are at the end of lap 8.
Great, awesome. Okay, so we'll start off with Distinctives. He's still running the mediums. His tires are looking really good. Maybe the front right at maybe 7% the wear on those mediums, so he's doing quite well, and just under 3/4 of a tank. Wakey, a little more wear on the tires, same fuel. Morgan Davies, his tires are looking exactly the same as Distinctives, but he's used a little bit more fuel, probably trying to pick up those guys.
As he's making past Goaty as well.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, very nice. Mountain Goat, he's looking really good on the fuel and tires both. He's only used maybe 8% of that tire. Foss, he's looking really good on the tires, and he's got plenty of fuel right on the 3/4 mark. Papo, average fuel with everybody else, and same as the tire. John 27, he's looking right around the same. Artsy's used a little bit more fuel, but his tires are a little bit better. Lenosis, he's used a little fuel, more than the others, but it's still looking good. But he's got great tires. So, okay, Niff. Ooh, Niff is really eating at his front right. He's the worst so far of the top 10, and he's used a little bit of fuel as well. Halfway between, what's that, 2/3 of a tank. Dale. 2/3 of a tank, and his tires are looking as good as the guys up front. CP, he's used a lot of fuel. He's almost to a half a tank, but his tires are really, really good. Maybe only 8% wear. Evo. He's got 2/3 of a tank on the money, and his tires look like 8%, so he's doing all right. And at the back, you got GTR, who's trying to catch up to everyone. He's used a little bit more fuel, but his tires look pretty good. That's your update.
Thank you, very much, Revs. That is understandable for GDR, having used a little bit more fuel in his efforts to catch up to the back of the pack. And he's not that far off the back. He's only 2.3 seconds off the back of Evil Evo at this point, so it's a fairly good recovery effort.
Very.
Meanwhile, back up the front, we've got G. She's still just under a second clear of young Wakey. He's doing an absolutely amazing job hanging with him. Morgan Davies in P3's gap at the moment is 3 seconds to young Wakey. He's managed to put 1.2 seconds to Mountain Goat, so that's no small feat in itself. Back in this absolute train of cars, we've got Boss with Tombo still playing Morse code on the rear bumper of that BSR car. So you can throw a blanket over these guys. You've got Boss, you've got Tombo, you've got John, Artsy, and then a little bit. This is insane. Artsy, Lenosis, Nif, Dale, CPJ. If any of these guys put a foot wrong, there's 3 or 4 positions gone in the blink of an eye. So no pressure, gentlemen. But, I'd highly recommend keeping it on the black stuff and facing in the right direction. At lap 11, we're 1/3 of the way through the race. Geesh has still got that lead at just under a second back to young Wakey. He's not letting him get away. These two have definitely cleared out. The gap back to Morgan has extended out to 3.7 seconds. Gap between Morgan and Godey is crept out to 1.9, so he's definitely made headway on his lead over Godey, but unfortunately hasn't been able to make headway to the 2 guys in front of him. Foss has still got his hands full with his demonic battle pack behind him. There's no other way to put it, because these guys are all blisteringly fast. And if I was Foss, I would be very, very nervous and very, very sweaty right about now.
Ooh, he's gone wide.
Oh, no.
Steady. Wow, very nice driving, Foss.
He's gotten away with that one, I imagine. But,
he's got other questions.
yeah, Tombo dead. Tombo's looking very, very racy about now. Just got checked up a little bit there. As John wants to put the nose down the inside. The final turn on Tombo takes advantage of it. Moves up to P6. Beautiful move. Saw Tombo got checked up a little bit. Put the nose in. Artsy wants to have a conversation with Tombo at turn 1. Under brakes. Artsy's just got the nose in there. Tombo's got the power down. Then he just to hold him off. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is how quickly things can change for you. Just that slight misstep, and that position you had is now going to be occupied by someone else. These guys all get along great off track, but once they're on track, Artsy with a massive send down the inside. Can't quite make it stick. As I was saying, these guys are great mates off the track, but once they get on track and they're racing, there's no love lost. It's all on for young and old. As Artsy with a huge send of the corkscrew gets side by side. Side by side with Tombo. Little bit of bumping and grinding. Not quite as clean as our move last week, but that's okay.
It's not easy going to corkscrew side by side, I can tell you that right now.
Terrifying is how I would describe it.
Yeah. Ooh, here we go.
But hey, nobody ended up off track. Nobody died, so that's good to see.
Drag race between Nick and Dale down to the first one.
Here we go. Niff has got the inside. He's going to make Dale go around the outside, go the long way. Dale just keeps the nose in for turn 3. Oh, that's very willing. And Dale takes the P10. There's a lot of dust being kicked up by these guys as they are flirting with the track limits.
Just heads up, GTR in the pits. Get himself crushed out tires. See if he comes out of the sauce. Oh, it looks like he would. Lap 13. Lap 14, sorry.
So Gisha's still up in front. Still got that just under 1 second gap back to Wakey. Be very interesting to see what happens in the fuel situation at the pit stop. So that's where positions are going to be picked up or lost. Morgan Davies still back in P3. He's managed to drop that gap to young Wakey down to just under 3 seconds. So he's made a little bit of headway. He has dropped out, go back to the tune of 4 seconds, back to P4. Seems like Godey might just be running to a number here, as he's pounding out very consistent laps. He's done a 28.6, 28.8, 28.7, 28.7, 28.5, 28.4. Yeah, wow. I have a feeling Godey's just running to his number at the moment. Yeah, he's running lap times on mediums that are quicker than me on a half a tank of fuel with soft tyres. So enough
He's
said.
doing really well with the fuel. He's actually got a half a tank still. So well done, go.
Definitely seems like Godey's running to his number, just doing his strategy and seeing how it plays out against everyone else. Boss in
Morgan's
P5.
managed to take a second out of Wiki, so slowly moving up.
Boss is in P5. He's got John very hot on his heels. Artsy P7. Lenosis has managed to move up to P8. Unfortunately, that means Tombo has dropped down to P9. Still hanging in there though. He's doing a fantastic job tonight.
Lenosis just did his fastest lap as well.
Excellent. He's dropped a 128.633. Shadow Racing in the chat saying this battle pack about to be lively. You're not wrong, mate. You're definitely not wrong. This has got all the makings of, well, either brilliance or disaster. It goes one of two ways, generally. Obviously, I'm hoping for the former. John's managed to make his way past Foss up into P5. Artsy wants a bit of a conversation about that P6. Foss is having none of it. Meanwhile, Lenosis is just there lurking in the background in P8. He's probably wanting these two guys to fight. Foss is holding. yes. Artsy holds out Floss under brakes. We're on lap 17 and this little battle pack's been going on for the better part of, well, most of the race.
Yes, yeah.
Foss has just dropped a wheel off the track there. That's going to let Lenosis up the inside. Gives him room. Comes in front. Lenosis takes P7. Well done. I would love to show a replay, but again, unfortunately, that feature appears to be broken at the moment. Yep, I got one replay in the Group B race, and then it decided to just stop functioning. What are we on? Lap 17. Getting kind of close to the pit stops. Geesh, still out in front. He's managed to get a couple of tenths there. He's just over a second in front of Young Wacky, who's not letting him go. The gap back to Morgan, still at about 3 seconds.
If in the pits.
There we go.
1% fuel, that's great fuel save.
Niff has pulled the trigger as Artsy sends it down the inside of turn 1 on John. Absolutely brilliant move under brakes. Says, thank you, I'll have that. Knowing John, that's not going to go down well. He's going to want to have a big conversation about that. So let's stay on board with that. But I think Artsy's done what he needed to. He's put half a second on John in just the first sector. Now for the age-old battle between John and Lenosis. There's been a fair bit of banter between these two before the race tonight. There's a lot of, how do I put this? Gamesmanship going on in the chat as John sends it up the inside of Artsy at the corkscrew, says, thank you very much, I'll have that. None of that turn 1 business here. Return serve. And that has left Artsy open to Lenosis as they go side by side through the second last turn. Lenosis concedes. But he is tucked right in on that rear bumper of Artsy. And I have the feeling there's going to be a battle of the late breakers coming into turn 1. As Artsy goes a little bit deep, Lenosis gets checked up a little bit, can't quite get it done this time. There's a battle raging on right behind them as well with Foss and Tombo, who's looking very, very racy again. He wants a piece of that BSR car. Just in the background as well, you've got Dale Teagues for Kraken Esports. He's probably looking at these 4 guys battling in front of him and says, thinking to himself, yep, keep going at it, guys. I'll be the beneficiary of any disaster that happens. Artsy and Lenosis coming into the braking zone for the corkscrew. Oh, nothing untoward happening there. John in the hover car, still holding station P5, as Mountain Goat in P4 has come into the pits at the end of lap 19. He's got 34% fuel. That's massive.
Good of a tank. Awesome. Especially with that amount of laps.
I think in the Group B race that just happened, I think the best I saw was about 18% at the same stage. So that is twice the fuel save. That is huge.
Yeah, that's mastery for sure. I could never.
Oh, I have no hope. I'm not even going to dream of it.
See who comes out first on the softs. So far, everyone else has come out on the mediums.
So double
44%. Yeah, softs for Coat.
Okay, so
44% fuel.
So Godey's going to be running 12 laps on the softs. That's That's doable, I would imagine. The last few laps may not be enjoyable, but it's definitely doable. Artsy and Lenosis are still going at it, still nose to tail.
I believe I put it after the 19th lap and then put on the softs. Like I said, this track, it's so abrasive on your tires. So these guys, what they're doing is, and the times that they're doing is, it's just next level. It's very surprising. It just shows you, you think you can play the game? I'll show you how to play the game.
Jish is showing us how to definitely play it as he's gone around again, but young Wakey and Morgan have come into the pits. Now for the fuel save, after just one extra lap, young Wakey's got 19% compared to Godey's 34%.
Impressive.
So even with an extra lap, that's still a massive fuel save there by Godey. John's inherited P2 for now. Artsy in third. Lenosis P4. Now these guys haven't pitted. Young Wakey will be coming back out on the softs. Let's have a look at Mountain Goat. He's coming into turn 1 now. Where's he going to pop out in terms of a young Wakey? Young Wakey's back out on track, going through turn 3 now. Godey's 2.4 seconds behind young Wakey. Wakey's still got the cold tyres, so Godey's got a lap of heat into his, so he'll be able to hopefully make a little bit of ground up. And Jish, as you mentioned, has just come into the pits with 17% fuel. So he's saved more fuel than young Wakey, even though he's been out in front, ploughing that hole in the air. And Lenosis and Artsy in the pits. Lenosis with a comparable fuel save to Jish, which is very commendable.
And he came into the pit in front of Artsy. It moves.
He'll be very happy about that. He's got the fuel advantage over Artsy as well, so he might be able to pull a little bit of a gap on him. So a little bit of TV time here for John, who's currently first on track. I believe has not yet pitted. How's his fuel situation, out of curiosity? Could he be doing a no-stop, aka slappers?
Who was that, sorry? I was watching Wakey come out in front of Goat, so sorry.
John, how's he looking for fuel?
He's got under a quarter of a tank, and he's only got maybe a third of a tire left on that front right. His front tires.
So a quarter of a tank. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be doing another 10 laps on a quarter of a tank. That would be very, very ambitious, to say the least.
Surprises, Wakey has taken the lead.
Oh, hello. Jish has taken on a lot of fuel, I would imagine. Games going on here, so Jish has lost out 2 spots in that pit stop, not accounting for John, who goes around for another lap. Okay, alright, that's something to keep an eye on. When does he pit? The young Wakey, the first of our pit stoppers out on track. Go. P3, he's got a very angry looking Jish right on his rear bumper. How's the fuel situation between Goat and Jish?
I think Jish is carrying a little bit more fuel. I would have to say maybe
Or is he
lap.
wants to stick the nose down the inside of T3, but decides to back out of it, not the time or the place. So I'm thinking Jish is probably taken on a little bit extra fuel just so he can give it the absolute beams for this lap, for the second stint on the soft tyres.
We have Wakey with the fastest lap of 126.97.
Wow, That is some very, very rapid race pace.
Race pace, yeah.
So Morgan Davies still in P5. Oh, as Artsy has... Artsy's had a beautiful 360, but unfortunately a spin at... I can't remember the corner name, but... turn 6, basically, or turn 7 going up towards the corkscrew, that left-hander. I'm not sure if he hit the sausage curb on the inside or whether he's run it a little wide on the outside. Unfortunately, has done a little bit of a pirouette and has decided to pull it into the pits. And he was on the soft lights. Hello, that was interesting. And he's got 3% fuel. John had decided to pull it into the pits as well. So John not going for the slapper strategy. So that'll sort out our running order a little bit for us. So we've got young Wakey out in front to the tune of 3.8 seconds.
I have to say the surprise has to go to GTR, who was dead last, way behind everybody else, and is now up to 7th.
Holy what? Wow.
Yeah, man. That's great driving GTR.
That is huge. And Jeesh has made his way past the kid, who is still running nose to tail with him. And appears to be wanting to have a bit of a conversation about that position. And wait a second. This is confusing for me, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, but having so many default liveries tonight is absolutely doing my head in. Oh, there's a bit of bumping and grinding going into turn 1. I can't tell who is who. Right, there we go. That was, well, it was Jeesh and Goaty, but which one's which? Jeesh is the one in front. Just to offset the confusion, Jeesh is in the gold and black Renault Megane, and Mountain Goat is in the gold and black Renault Megane. So there you go. You guys can tell the difference between the two. This
Sun's
would
going
be
down. The track would be getting a lot cooler. A little bit more slippier, so these guys might have a little bit more caution. But the way Goaty's looking on Jeesh, I think we're in for some exciting racing.
I think we are too, but what is happening while these two guys are going hammer and thong at each other, that is allowing young Wakey to skip out in front, because he's currently got a 6.3 second lead over these two. So, I mean, with 6 laps to go, probably not feasible that they're going to be able to rein that in, even if they did choose to work together. As Jeesh puts in his fastest lap of the race with a 1:27.347. But as it stands, Morgan Davies currently has the fastest lap of the race with a 1:26.802. He's currently sitting in P4, so he's having an absolute cracker of a race tonight. As Jeesh goes purple through the first sector. Does not want to hang around. He's probably heard me over the comms, and he's dropped half a second out of young Wacky's lead so far, so might just be that he wants to put the hammer down and he wants to try and catch up as much as possible, and Goaty might be doing everything he can just to hang into the slipstream and stay along for the ride. Morgan Davies, he's in a bit of a no man's land. He's 4.5 seconds behind the Goat, and he's 11 and a bit seconds up the road from Foss as he's purple coming down through the corkscrew. So it might just stick for him to see if he can improve on his fastest lap situation. because that will give him that extra point. I mean, he's in P4, so he's already in for a good haul of points, but if he can pick up the extra from the fastest lap, nobody's ever going to say no to that. Misses out on it by 700ths, but he still holds it. Doesn't improve, but he still holds on to it. Foss has had a very stressful race so far, I would say. He's managed to clear out a little bit from that battle pack. He's in P5. He's got 2.5 seconds back to Tombo in P6, who after that pit stop's managed to find himself a little bit of space over John, who ran a couple of laps longer on those mediums than everyone else around him. And I kind of get the feeling that that might have hurt him a little bit. I mean, he's only 1.5 seconds behind Tombo. There's 5 laps to go, so he could still make some inroads into that. Keep an eye on that gap there. What will make him happy though, he's got a 3-second gap back to Lenosis, who has a very fired up looking GTR, 8 tenths behind him. GTR did have not the greatest early stages of the race. What tyres is GTR on, out of curiosity?
He's on the mediums. He was
So
one of the early ones to pit.
So he's
He was
gone.
actually the first one to pit. So really, yeah, he was the first one to pit.
So he's gone the double medium stint by the looks of it.
Up with Wakey, he's on the softs, Fish softs, Goody softs, Davey softs, Foss softs, Tombo softs.
That gap between Wakey and Geesh has come down. It's 3.4 seconds. Don't know if that's close enough, given that they've only got 3 laps to run, but it's enough to get you into nervous territory. It's dead on 3 seconds as Wakey comes through the corkscrew on lap 28. 3 seconds to go, or 3 seconds a gap, 3 laps to go. Definitely something to keep an eye on. Geesh has cleared out to go, who's had an absolute mare by the looks of things on this lap, as he's now under fire from Morgan Davies through the final turn. Cody going defensive, Morgan round the outside, a little bit sideways. Good old-fashioned drag race down the straight, but I think Morgan Davies just got an absolute blinder of an exit and has made his way up onto the podium. There will be cheering coming from the Switchblade garage right now.
Well, Cody's having a little bit of problem. Maybe with his fuel, he's flashing already.
Oh, is Cody on the fuel light?
Yes, he is.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good, because they've got this lap plus 2 more to go. So, and he's
gone wide.
Oh, that's very wide. That's very dirty. That's not going to do good things for the amount of grip you've got on those tyres. Morgan Davies, he's put himself into a very solid P3. Now, I've seen throughout the history that about the only thing Morgan and I share in common is that we're not the greatest qualifiers. But Morgan in a race is, unlike myself, is something to behold.
He qualified 7th.
Won't have the greatest of qualifier, but in a race he just has this knack of managing to find his way through the grid and up onto the podium.
Jish is really eating into that time on Wakey. Just lap and 1 more to go.
Oh, that gap is down to 1.5 seconds. If I was Wakey, I'd be pretty nervous about now. Just going to check in a little bit back down the grid. Foss is in a fairly solid P5. Tombo's in P6. He's still got John right on the rear bumper. The headlights are on as the amount of light on track is beginning to drop. John is right on that rear bumper of Tombo. He's going to be looking for a move in the next couple of corners, I'd imagine. Tombo's going defensive. John's going very... Oh, that is huge down the inside. Tombo with the switchback gets the inside for the next corner. Too wide into this corner. It ends badly 99% of the time. John knows it. Backs out. Gets the inside. They're side by side going up the hill towards the corkscrew. Who's got the biggest set going into the braking zone? And John pulls it off. Tombo wants to have a conversation, but I think John just has him covered on the exit. And he does. John's holding on to the P6. Hello. Oh, gee. Oh, hello. Back up front. Wakey and Jeesh. I saw a crossover of position going into turn 1. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. And they are side by side into turn 3. This is nail-biting stuff as Wakey has found a bit of dirt. He's run very wide at turn 3. Wow. Okay, take a breath. Oof, take a breath, take a breath. As Geesh sends it down the inside, side by side. And Geesh has got the race lead. There will be some screaming going from the Ironheart garage right now. Oh, I think, how's Wakey doing for fuel? Is he suffering on tyres? What's going on there?
He's had him both in the fuel and the tire section there.
Oh,
yeah, his
no.
right's really hurting Wakey. And he's got a little tiny just less fuel, so might have been what would cause the problem.
That right there is why Geesh is one of the quickest guys in the country at the moment. He has driven an absolute blinder of a lap. He's come from a 6-second gap at the pit stop and takes the race win tonight for Ironheart with Wakey for Kraken Esports in P2. Morgan Davies from Switchblade very happy with a P3 tonight. Mountain Goat for BSR picking up the P4 and a very good haul of points. Also from BSR will be Foss in P5. And Tombo pips John for P6 and John takes P7, Lenosis P8, GDR with a great recovery in a P9, Dale Teeks with a solid performance in Group A for a P10, NIF CP brings home P11, Evil Evo for Doghouse P12, CPJ bringing home P13 and Artsy for Thunder Esports. I'd say something's gone wrong at some point, but his consolation prize is he does have the fastest lap with a 1:26.234, knocking off Morgan Davies for that bonus point. So I guess that's his consolation prize for the night. And wow, didn't that just kick off in the last lap and a half? Wow, I did not see that coming.
Great race time as well. Wow.
Whoa. All right, I need a breath after that. That last race and a half, last lap and a half was just absolutely nuts. I was focusing on one battle and then we had to very quickly cut to a slightly more important battle for the race lead. Oh, all right. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, give me your Driver of the Day nominations in an orderly fashion if you wouldn't mind. I'm just going to have a breath and we are going to have a look at our race results. Oh, pardon me. Rightio. So, taking out the race win tonight is Geesh very hard-fought battle tonight over young Wacky, and I would imagine a very happy podium getter tonight in the form of Morgan Davies, P4, Mountain Goat, P5, Foss, P6. I imagine he would also be very happy with that, is Tombo, P7, John, who would probably be very happy to beat out Lenosis in P8. P9 with the recovery drive of the night was GTR, P10 Dale Teagues, P11 NIF, P12 Evil Evo, P13 CPJ, and our fastest lap runner tonight is Thunder Artsy in P14.
What a lap.
That is very, very mental.
We got a 26 flat in quali, so for race pace, that's just next
a
level.
26.2 race pace is just, yeah. I don't even know how to describe that. And checking on the YouTube chat, I can see that we have a very happy Ironheart Simsports team owner in the chat. And we also have from Jim Bob, well done Team Renault. Yes, can confirm Team Renault with the factory yellow and black liveries tonight was, they had a very strong showing. Unfortunately, yes, GT7 doing GT7 things means that we lost out on a few team liveries tonight, which is very unfortunate, but unfortunately there's not a lot I can do for that, and my apologies if I confused some drivers tonight. I hope you understand the source of my confusion. Alright, so Revs, what are your thoughts? Drive of the day.
Well, I can point it out to just a couple of drivers. First, I want to mention the GTR. I mean, he fell way off the back. I think he was like 12 seconds, 15 seconds behind. And he fought his way back to 9th position. And in this field, you got to say that that's really well done. But my driver of the day has to go to Morgan Davey. He qualified 7th. And even though he was in the traffic, he managed to get through. He managed to stay clean. He managed his fuel really well, his tires very well, and a solid third drive. And he's been looking fast this season as well. So I'll give it to Morgan Davey.
It seems that the YouTube chat tends to agree with you there, Revs. We've got Mr. Bumpcrack saying Morgan Driver of the Day, The Stranger saying Morgan Driver of the Day, Ghost Morgan Driver of the Day, great to see him back. Got a Driver of the Day from Morgan from Debrev, Lenosis saying Driver of the Day Artsy. Unfortunately, it seems that Artsy got a bit stiffed by his fuel guys who decided to take the afternoon off, which is what cost him the spot back down to P14, but he's decided to take his consolation prize of the fastest lap point. Woody, Driver of the Day, Morgan Davies, and a special mention to John the Backmarker for channeling his inner D's. Karen says Morgan Driver of the Day. Given that he's the Switchblade team owner, I am inclined to think there's a little bit of bias, but I am willing to overlook it on this occasion, as I also concur with Morgan's being Driver of the Day. That was an absolutely sensational performance to not only make up the spots throughout the race, but have some pretty good battles with other drivers along the way, and yeah, got the results to show for it. So well done, Morgan. But we can't take away from the fantastic drive from Geesh tonight. That was next level.
46:22 race time. Well done, Geesh, man. That is an awesome time.
Yeah, that's a lot faster than the practice runs that I had done in the past
Yeah.
by, yeah, it's over a minute. Let's just leave it at that. I don't want to embarrass myself any further, but that is huge. So, everyone in the chat, if you haven't already, please smack the like button, hit the subscribe, you know the deal. And my apologies again for the technical issues that we had tonight. Unfortunately, it's just the way it goes, and all we can do is adapt, improvise, and overcome as best as we can on the fly. Which
Scream at GT7, scream at GT7.
Anyways.
yeah, there's been a fair bit of that. Not gonna lie. I've done a lot of that in the last 12 months, more than I ever thought I would. But, you know, it's alright. We do the best we can with what we've got, and hopefully we put on the best possible show.
That's right.
So,
Awesome.
I've sort of run out of things to say for this evening,
Yeah.
so all I can say
I
now
just wanted to
is...
say, see everybody at Brands Hatch next week. I hope you have a great practice. I'll see you there. Brands Hatch is going to be interesting because we got the Indy track and we got the first 3 lap with the hot lap in the middle. A lot of things there going on, so it could be awesome.
Oh yes, my least favorite track on the calendar this season. Yay! My enthusiasm is overwhelming. Oh, that's all right. No, thank you very much for joining me in the comms box tonight, and Mr. Bumcrack as well. I hope you've been enjoying watching the racing tonight. Thank you very much, everyone, for jumping onto the stream tonight, watching, jumping in the chat, participating there. Also like to say thank you to our sponsors of Boxer Beauty and APR Automotive for Category 1. And also like to say thank you for JSM Accounting Group. My apologies that your live replay dysfunction decided to not function tonight, but we will do our best to get it up and running next week. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. I am going to be signing out tonight. I am Carbon Boy, and we shall see you again next week.
Night.